If you don't look at yourself and you put the blame on someone else or something else, you're never going to get anywhere in life. You're always going to find a way to bring up an excuse. That's just the reality of life. It's better that this happened now because it's more of a realization. When you grow into adulthood and you go into these real life experiences, whether it's job, dating, relationships, family, friends, whatever, there's going to be a lot of unexpected things that's going to come at you. 100%. If anyone says otherwise, they're bullshitting you. Yeah? Don't look at your friends when everything is going good. Look at the people who are there when shit goes down. Those are your real friends. If you are self-aware enough about yourself and the person you are, those insecurities shouldn't get the better of you, regardless of what anyone else says. Because if you can't handle this, everything you've learned goes out the window. It's that simple. How are the marks? It's not looking good. What did people think of it before I say my bit? To be honest, you said it was illegal last week. Yeah. What was it? Was it hard or was it just because it was unexpected and I took everyone by surprise that put them off and anxiety and pressure just feels like therapy now, isn't it? It was hard. What was it hard?
You did like so many questions.
Yes, that's true. But what about the questions themselves?
So long.
Yeah, I might have gone a bit overboard on, just a tad bit overboard, but just a bit. I mean, what was it out of 147 or 150? Rianch, why did you say it was illegal last week?
Because it's like a 3-hour test. You gave it us an hour and a half.
Actually, you know what? Let me give you the paper. Let your emotions just marinate a bit for a couple of minutes, okay? And then I'll give you the talk that I need to talk. Can you read out, Urmila, what you wrote on the paper so everyone can read? Urmila wrote, please don't be harsh with the marks. It's the month of giving. Thank you. And I said, if you put the work in, you would not need to ask. Smiley face. Why I did it was not to bring you down or try and there was a bit of entertainment when I saw people's faces at the beginning. But the reason why is I'd rather you experience this hardship, this kind of taken completely by surprise motion that I did. Because now the only way is up, if you genuinely think about it, right? Like, okay, I didn't tell you when the exam was, except someone just checking the parent's phone and obviously knowing the day before the exam and then telling her friend about it as well. But you know, that's not really likely. The only way right now is up. Like, I know you would say, okay, yeah, the exam was long. Okay, fine. The exam was long, fine, cool. But then one can say the questions that you did, you still didn't get that right. So the way I look at it is, okay, even if the exam was long, at least the questions that you attempted, if you got that right or most of it right, then okay, there's a case to say, okay, you at least got the questions that you did right, but the ones that you didn't, okay, you didn't have enough time, right? What happened, I think, which is why I asked you at the beginning, but no one wanted to say anything, is me taking you by surprise put pressure on you. And that pressure created a bit of anxiety and stress, which meant that the things that you should have known, you completely forgot. It just completely like warped your mind, yeah? Like it just kind of took over your mind. And because of that, now the things that you would normally, like if I give these, okay, maybe not some of them, but most of them you should be able to do. Like you'd be, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do. There were a lot of questions that people made so many silly mistakes because they were just put under pressure. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at this and blame it on, okay, the exam was long, Vinny didn't tell me when the exam was, or you can look at it as, okay, I clearly don't know these things and I need to work on this. I need to put more time, I need to put more effort, I need to put more focus. Because the worst thing that could happen is we do this at the end, for example, when you don't get the grade and you're like say for example May and April and you mess up on your actual GCSE. It's better that this happened now because it's more of a realization. I'm not saying obviously the exam is going to be like this hard, but it's better that it's hard now, that you experience this hardship now, because now if you go to the GCSE exam, it's not going to be as hard, but at least you know when your mocks are going to be and you know when your GCSE exam are going to be, so it's not going to be as hard mentally to think like, oh, you're going to be taken by surprise. I did this because I'm very different. I like to do things very differently. Now, maybe some parents will look at it and be like, oh, you're not learning anything, what is this? This is a waste of time. But to me, if you don't look at yourself and you put the blame on someone else or something else, you're never going to get anywhere in life. You're always going to find a way to bring up an excuse. That's just the reality of life. A lot of people, like even the previous class, they blamed it on this. And I said, okay, I understand, maybe I overdone it, which is why I was very fair to you guys as well. And them, I marked it based on the questions that you did as opposed to out of 150, yeah? So that was me being fair. But if you always keep on looking at things where it's not my fault, it's this person's fault, it's this examiner's fault, it's this teacher's fault, it's my mom's fault, it's my dad's fault, you're not taking accountability for yourself and you're not taking responsibility. And when you don't do that, you're gonna be in a habitual state where you're always putting the blame on someone or something else. And it's not gonna work. I did this because I want you to experience this. I did this not because I want to bring you down. I did this because, I mean, I even spoke to your parents. I said, good, do it. They need it. It's just like now, okay, you've experienced something like this. It can't be any harder if you really think about it. Like, you know when your exams are gonna be. I don't think the exam is going to be this hard, this level of work. There is some positive points from that perspective. Now, if you didn't get the marks in some of those questions because you genuinely didn't have time, and if you had the time, you know how to do it, that's a different story. But if you didn't know how to do it because you were morphed by pressure or you anxiety took in, it's not just about what you know and what you don't know. Like, even if you know everything, when it comes to judgment day, in this case your exam day, if you can't handle the pressure and the stress, it'll mess you up. Like, no matter how much you know, like I've seen this happen with so many people where in class they're fine, they understand everything clicks, great. But when it comes to the exam, they can't handle the pressure, they can't handle the stress, and it takes over them. And that's completely natural. That's completely natural. Like, as human beings, it means in a way you care, but also you're dealing with that mental state of, oh my gosh, what if I fail? What is people going to think about me, or whatever? You have to find a way of dealing with that pressure in the moment. I really believe that. I really believe that's what differentiates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Not just in the exam, just also in anything in life, right? Like, you go for a job interview, or I don't know, maybe even dating, for example, whatever, right? It's confidence. It's like, okay, how do I deal with the pressure? I'm in this pressure now. Okay, I know what I'm doing. Okay, but why am I feeling like this? Okay, how do I remove that feeling? I know this, I can do this. That mental self-talk is probably more important, or just as important, than what you've learned. Because if you can't handle this, everything you've learned goes out the window. It's that simple. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people were taken aback because I took you by surprise, and a lot of the questions that you should have got right, or you could have got right, because your mind was stressed, you couldn't think properly. It was just like, oh, what the heck, and it just went blank. That's part of life. You have to expect the unexpected. Like, you guys are young, right? And I tell you this on experience, that when you grow into adulthood and you go into these real life experiences, whether it's job, dating, relationships, family, friends, whatever, there's going to be a lot of unexpected things that's going to come at you. 100%. If anyone says otherwise, they're bullshitting you. Yeah, because life is not something where everything is all rosy. They're in cuckoo land, where they think like everything is all cushy and rosy and like everything's going to be easy. It's not. It really isn't. And you have to be able to withstand those things that come at you from nowhere. It could be health. I know people that just had cancer from nowhere. Healthy people. Now, how the frick do you deal with that? Like, what, cancer from where? Like, oh my gosh, now I have to go to chemotherapy, I have to remove the tumor. Like, shit like that happens, right? So, as much as I'm like using maths, I use it in a way where you need to be able to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because if you're not comfortable with the uncomfortable, I guarantee you life will just, you'll be finished. You'll be absolutely finished. It will devour you. Like, the amount of shit that I had to go through, not to, obviously I don't want to play the victim, I don't need sympathy or empathy, but you know, a lot of you ask me why I'm so serious, why I'm like, you know, this is because of what life has done for me. I wasn't always like this before, that I can guarantee you. It was because the amount of shit that I had to go through to get to where I am, whether it's from family, friends, work. There was a lot of rejections, a lot of hurt, a lot of deep stuff that happened that now to an outside person, they might think, whoa, this guy's serious, he's very intense, he's very intimidating, but that's because of the things I had to go through. So why I'm saying that is because when I was, you know, going about life, carrying on as normal, thinking everything's going to be okay, I started to see patterns where things were just coming out of nowhere. You know, family disagreements, crying 95% of my friends, leaving the corporate world, dealing with people that messed me up from a monetarily perspective, losing a lot of money. All those things, it hardened me. So now when I talk with people, I don't get messed around just because of those life experiences, because of, that's why a lot of people see me as like, yeah, this guy, well, he's got something about him. It's not I've got something about me, it's just because of the experiences I've gone through. I was a very innocent kid back then. I was very, you know, someone that just kind of thought like, okay, yeah, life is going to be okay, you know, it's all good. But then I realized that it could be a very dark world. Like, you only see what you want to see, but there's another dark side to life that most of you probably have not experienced yet. So the reason why I say all of this is like, me doing this stuff is not to bring you down. It's I genuinely want you to do well. And I've never said this, and I never will say this, that maths is important. I never say that even if you mess up your education or you don't get the grades, that, you know, your life is over. I don't look at it like that, because I've done both the education and moved out of education to get back into education, which is so messed up. But I've moved out of that corporate world to go and start up businesses, and then, you know, going back into that. So I've seen both sides of the world, and I can honestly tell that if you are someone who knows what you want to do and you're very tunnel vision about it, like whether that's in education or outside of education, it doesn't matter what people say. And you have to be very firm with that. You have to be like, for me, I'll tell you this, I left my family, when was it? 2016, I didn't speak with them for 2.5 years. because they did not like me leaving the corporate world, investment banking, and then starting this, one of many businesses, which was this, and the other one was the software. They didn't like it. They thought I was, literally kind of disowning the family, the family kind of values and what people would think. But I'm very rebellious in the sense that if I believe in something, I would do it no matter what anyone else says, and I'll prove them wrong. But I didn't speak with them for 2.5 years. That 2.5 years was very dark because I also left home. So I left home, didn't speak with them, started everything from zero, no money, cut 95% of my friends because most of my friends said, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle a bunch of kids? How are you going to handle a bunch of students? They're going to walk all over you. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. Like, you're supposed to be my friend, right? So why are you having all this negativity and bring me down? So that's when I realized really who your true friends are. So this is why I say, like, don't look at your friends when everything is going good. Look at the people who are there when shit goes down. Those are your real friends, not the ones that, when you're partying or whatever and you're having a good time. No, don't look at them. They're the people that are just there for the good times. Who are there when you're going through your struggles? Who are there when you're crying? Who are there when you have a mental breakdown? Who is there when you've gone through something and you need someone to listen, someone who you can speak to and listen to? Those are the gems. Those are the ones that you hold on to, and you make sure you do the same thing to them. They are the ones that are gonna be there through thick and thin, not the ones that are gonna be, when good things happen. And maybe you're still learning about that, I don't know, but like you'll see if you go to university, first year you'll know a lot of people, you have a big circle. Second year that circle reduces. Third year you only have 2-3 people in your circle. That's how it happens. You start to really mature and start to see who your true friends are. So if you're gonna go in first year, second year and messing around, like clubbing, whatever, you'll see a lot of fake people and people talking behind your back. And it's probably happening now anyway in your school as well. You're probably seeing that. Why I'm saying all these things as well is that life is not gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. But if you have the mindset of, this is my goal, and I'm gonna do this to get to my goal, and I'm gonna try and have fun whilst I go through that goal and go through that process, you'll be okay. But if you think that life is gonna be easy and everything should be given to you and having this kind of, and I'm not saying you guys are, by the way, I'm just talking from the third person, because I've seen this with other people, especially in TikTok, it's complete, this entitlement, like they think that my parents need to do this, they think that I should have this. It's like, who the heck do you think you are? Go into a third world country and you'll see there's people that walk 10 miles just to get rice or water, and they're so happy when they get that. And people here moan about the smallest little thing, but what they don't realize is you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have shelter, you have everything you want, you have internet, and you're still moaning. Perspective is everything, right? If you don't have perspective in life, you you literally lose yourself. Even with these things that, like I said, I've gone through, like another one as well, I didn't see my father for 15 years. So I only saw him in, again, that's when I left home as well, 2016. So he was in a coma in hospital in France. So imagine that, your dad, someone who you knew who was a very strong guy, is in a coma, can't even tie his shoelaces or do his zip because he's just coming out of a coma. His brain is all gone, and now you're seeing that's your father figure, that's your father, the one who you knew who was very strong. Right? So, those are things as well that, again, that's just my thing. I don't need empathy or sympathy. I've gone through that shit myself. But yeah, 15 years of not seeing him is very, very difficult. To try and understand who you are as a person comes from your mom and your dad. So that's why when your mom and dad are telling you things, I know sometimes it can be annoying, trust me, my mom is annoying as hell. Just so say things and it goes in one ear and goes out the other. But they are saying things for a reason. Sometimes they're maybe not saying it in the right way that you want to receive it, which I understand because I was like that. But most of the time, they are saying it because they genuinely care about you, right? I guess my dad didn't really care much about, us as kids and all that. So I only did it because if he passes away, I didn't want to have the regret of never seeing him ever again and not having that final word with him. So for me, regret is something that scares the shit out of me because I don't want to end up being 80 years old and look back in my life and think, what if I went and saw my dad? What if I went and done this? What if I went, you can't remove regret. It stays with you for the rest of your life. That's something for me that drives me. That's why I try and do as much as I can, because when I'm old, I want to know that I've done everything I can. And even if it didn't work, it doesn't matter, because in my mind, I know I've done it, but it didn't work. That's okay. I don't want to have that regret thinking, what if I've done that? What could have been? What could I have become? That's not something that's really I can't deal with that. And a lot of people, I don't know about you guys, but I know that most people in this day and age, they don't like to deal with the truth. And what I mean by the truth is there's something wrong with you, or someone says something, or you have an insecurity, for example. Everyone has insecurities. If anyone says they don't have insecurities, it's complete bullshit, yeah? Everyone has insecurities, but most people are trying to move away from their insecurities and just get on with life and thinking that's going to be okay. But the thing is, if you are self-aware enough about yourself and the person you are, those insecurities shouldn't get the better of you, regardless of what anyone else says. Part of my insecurity was, okay, I didn't see my dad, I don't know who I am. I need to understand my identity. I need to know who I am as a person. Why do I do certain things? Why do I talk in a certain way? Why do I behave in a certain way? So I had to go and address that insecurity. The insecurity is I'm scared to death to go and see him because this is my dad, right? I've never seen the guy for like 15 years, and now to go and see him, it's like, it's crazy. That scares it. That is a whole story behind that. But long story short, I was so paralyzed that when I walked out of the hospital, there was 2 cars that crashed together. One flipped over, and in front of my eyes, I didn't flinch. I just walked past it. That's how paralyzed I was after that encounter. The reason why I say all these things is because you're going to experience life, not now, but it'll come when maybe someone does something to you. Question is not what they did to you that's important. It's how do you react to it and how do you move forward from it. That's the most important thing. I think it was William Shakespeare that said this. Was it Shakespeare? I think. Yeah, he said it's not the actual thing that matters, it's the thinking behind the thing that matters. So if you think the thing is good or bad, that's what messes you up, not the actual thing itself. It's your perspective of the thing. So the perspective of this exam is how do you now process that? Okay, it didn't go well. Cool. What can I learn from that? Where did I go wrong? What can I improve? How do I study better? What do I focus on? How much questions should I do? How much time should I put? What environment am I learning in? Am I learning in an environment where it's too loud? Parents are shouting, siblings are shouting. I need to go to a quiet place. Okay, a library, or I don't know what they have these days, but somewhere, a different environment. This is how you think. When something has gone bad, don't look at it as it's bad. Look at it as what can I learn from it? And it's very difficult in that moment because you're very emotional, right? When you're emotional, you can't think. Your emotions get the better of you and you can't logically think. But the important thing is take it as this is a learning lesson. So even though all these things has happened where I left home, didn't speak to my family 2.5 years, didn't see my dad for 15 years, cut 95% of my friends, left the corporate world, I had to learn what someone would probably learn in 30 years of their life. In space of 5 years, I had to learn all that condensed. All my friends, they still work in the corporate world, and they said, Vidush, like, you're the only one out of our friends group that has gone out of the corporate world and took all these risks and become the person that you are. And I said, listen, man, I stand by what I do. Because no matter what happens, when I go back home and I'm in my place, I have peace. I have peace because of the decisions and choices that I made and the way I conduct myself. So when someone says you're serious, I'm like, cool. And obviously there's different sides to me, but they don't understand that if you go through those things, then you'll understand why that person gets more. Now that doesn't mean that I'm always serious all the time, but it's more of perspective and life experiences. I say this just because I'm not the type of person that talks just from like books, because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but you're not going to learn anything from books. You have to go in the real world and go and experience it. I'm not a big book believer. I feel like, people that read their theory books and study, shut up about your studies, no one gives a shit. Go out in the real world and go and experience. Go and experience what rejection feels like. Go and experience what, being in a relationship feels like. Go and experience when family members disagree with you, or siblings disagree with you, or someone backstabbed you, or someone did something. Like, go and experience that, because that will shape you to become the person that you want to be if you use it in the right way. It's all a mindset. Right? It's all a mindset. Now, I know that there's going to be some parents that's going to look at the results and be like, oh yeah, Vidush is shit. So I find, okay, cool. But the actual underlying problem is you're blaming someone else or something else, as opposed to looking at yourself and thinking, where did I go wrong? And most people blame other people because it's easier to do, because it means that they don't have to look at their own insecurity. No, my child didn't do anything wrong. It's you. Is that really? Your child didn't do anything wrong and it's all me? Interesting though, isn't it? I don't care. I'm fine, because I know who I am and I know what I'm about. But that's what I would say. Yeah, I would say that when these things happen, it's good. It's part of experience. A lot of people, I'm sure you've seen in TikTok, right? Like the videos are starting to pick up and rap, but because people are probably not seeing things like that, like it's just very kind of like straight, serious, and obviously there's a bit of joke here and there, but that's just how I am, and that's just how I conduct my stuff, right? And people these days just see a lot of very cushy, rosy, sugar-coated things, and it's just, I don't know, to me, I don't look at life like that, because when you go in the reality of the world, when you have to go and pay your bills, when you have like, when you're to the last penny in your bank account and you're like, shit, what do I do to live for next day? You then really realize how hard life is, especially when you don't ask help from anybody and you said you're going to do these things and you're going to make something of yourself. It really shapes you to become the person that you really want to become. It really tests your character. And a lot of people these days, they don't want to go through that because they don't want the hardships, and they want everything to be easy. But then that's okay. If you want everything to be easy, cool. But then don't be jealous or say anything about anyone else who has it better than you. You have no right to say that. If someone has a better house, has a better, I don't know, grade, has a better qualification, has a better job, or has a better whatever, you shouldn't be envious of them. If you're not doing anything for yourself, if you're not actually putting the work, you shouldn't be looking at what anyone else is doing. You should be focusing on you and your journey. That's it. When I left, that 2.5 year period is very dark. It was so dark. Does anyone know what sty is? A sty.
Eye.
On the eye. My eyes would swell so much from the stress. I would wake up in the middle of the night and be in a fetal position because I would get ridiculous stomach pains. Ridiculous from the stress. So I have to be on the floor in a fetal position because I couldn't handle it. Because there's so much stress of like trying to start the business, not having a support group. Most of the friends cut out. Most of my time was in the dark. Like I didn't even put lights on. I was living that proper dark life. Didn't go with society, didn't go to birthdays, didn't go to events because I was like, I have to make this shit work. So now when I've got the things that I've got, and I don't, like I said, I'm not really a money guy or money grabbing guy. I don't give a shit about that because I feel like money, after a certain extent, money doesn't mean anything. But now when I compare, again, quote unquote compare, I don't like comparing, but now when I see my friends or other people, I'm so ahead of them. But that's because in that period of time, that 5, 6 years, I put so much work. I had to go through so many rejections. And when I say rejections as well, I got rejected by 40 schools. I went to all the schools to say to them, hey, look, let me come and help your students for free. You don't need to pay anything. I will show you what I can do. And if you like it, then we can talk. All the schools rejected me. They're saying, there was one school I went, they had this maths club after school on Wednesdays. And normally 2-3 people would turn up. And I went there to help that school for a bit. And what happened is when I would go to the classroom, I would sit like at the back, the teacher would teach. And there was one kid that was sitting next to me, and I was just, because I'm quite different anyway, the way I do things, I said, give me your book. And I showed him just examples whilst the teacher was teaching. I said, okay, can you do this? Can you do that? And he starts to get into it. He's like, yeah, okay, cool. And then the other kids in front of him were seeing what I was doing with him. And they started to be like, who is this guy? Curious. To the point that then they started to sit next to me. So every time I went to that class, they all come gathered around me. I never said you come gather around me. I just came, sat down, and they were like, ooh, he's different. Now, the reason why I bought the maths club was because there was a time, I remember this very vividly, Wednesday, I broke my toe, my metatarsal. So I was walking to the school, limping, playing football, and I broke it. But I still limped, and I was like, I think 20 minutes late to the maths club. And I went into the school, opened the door, got into the maths corridor. And when I opened the classroom door, there was 30 people waiting for me. And so when I came in, oh, Vidish is here, Sir is here, great. And then the teacher was like, how'd you do this? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, normally only 2 or 3 people come up. You brought 30 kids coming after school for maths to come, and they're waiting for you. And I said to the teacher, I said, listen, man, like, I just treat them as a friend, and that's it. I just treat them as human beings. If you just do that, 90% of the job is done. But that school didn't like me because I was growing a lot of influence to the point that literally all the years started to know who I was, because a lot of people were starting to talk about me, and the teachers did not like that because, of course, you know, who's this guy coming here thinking? I didn't give a shit about that. I was like, listen, you can take the credit if you want. You don't even have to say it's my name. I'm just the guy that's behind the shadows and working. If you want, that's fine. But a lot of the kids started to like me, and they started to talk about me. And the teachers got, pretty much the whole school started to know who I was, and they did not like that because I was creating too much influence. When I say influence, I don't think I just felt like I was just helping them, but they reveled in this guy, like, you know, this like, who is this guy, man? He's like so different, etc. But they didn't like that, so they kicked me out. And again, I was helping the kids, so the kids were doing well. So when I got kicked out, there was a parent that actually ran after me. A mother ran after me when I left the school, and she goes, Vidish. I was like, who the heck is this? So, are you Vidish? I was like, yeah, my son Hussein, you know, he really loved your lesson. He wants to teach, he wants you to teach him. And I said, look, I'm not coming back to the school. I got, you know, they don't want me. He said, yeah, that's fine, I'll come and, you know, he'll come and you can tutor him privately. And then that's how it started building. 1 person, 2 people, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, and start building, right? What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that when those things happened, when there was a lot of things against you, I could have given up and said, oh, this is so hard. it's not going to work for me. And I had so many doubts, right? But I could have done that. I'm like, I can't do this. Let me just go back and just do the easy thing. I didn't. I still stayed through. I plowed through, and I said, I'm not going to give up until I make sure that this works. Now, that also requires a level of mental fortitude to be able to go through that, because it's torture. Your mind gets tortured, right? And if I did not go through that, I don't think I'll be where I am today. Not to say I'm even anywhere near close. I'm still got so much that I want to do, but I would not be where I am today. And why I say this is because when you go through your hardships, whatever hardship it is, if you look at it in a way where you want the easy thing and it's not comfortable, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow at all. For you to grow, you have to go through the uncomfortable side of things. It's like anything. Like if you're playing in music or sports, you're not going to be good the first time, right? If you're playing the piano, for example, you're not going to be good for the first, 6-7 months. It's going to take time. It's going to take repetitive work. It's going to go again and again and again and again and again. Same thing with music. Same thing with sports. It takes time and practice. But a lot of people just want the shortcut to the result, and that doesn't work. And if you want the shortcut to the result, you're going to be like everyone else, a sheep. Because that's what most people are. They're sheeps. They just follow what everyone else is doing without actually thinking. I like to take a step back and think about things very logically in a way like, okay, why is this like this? Why is it like that? But people don't like when I do that because it puts insecurity on them. Because I'm able to think like that. I have self-awareness. I have a lot of deep self-awareness. People don't like that because most people just follow the sheep. Oh, let's do this. I was like, do you even know why you're going with that? Oh, let's do this. Or like, okay, fine. But have you thought about it properly? And this is why critical thinking is important. It's where you take a step back and think for yourself, okay, whoa, what just happened here? Why did it happen? How did it happen? What did I do to make it happen? What did I not do to make it happen? I did not know these things. I had to learn this through those rejections, those challenges, those obstacles when shit was happening. Like there was one school when I was teaching, they gave me a day's notice to get out. So I had to find another place to teach the students. Literally wrote like a whole 2-email essay with one of my very close friends to send to the head teacher, and he still rejected it. And it's funny that a lot of students come from that school now and they come here. Interesting how karma works in that way, isn't it? If you're able to look at yourself and be critical about yourself and also be soft to yourself. And when I say soft, it's like, don't be so hard on yourself, because it's very easy to be hard on yourself. When something doesn't go well, for example, this exam, now you're going to be like, oh, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm just a failure. No, don't do that. You do that because it makes you feel good as well. You might not admit it, but it makes you feel good. Because when you play the victim mode and you feel sorry for yourself, you feel good about yourself. Cut that shit out. You don't need that. It's like, okay, I messed up. Cool. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I just made mistakes. How can I rectify those mistakes? Where did I go wrong, and what can I do to make sure that I don't do that, that doesn't happen again? That's how you have to think. If you play the victim mode, it makes you feel good. Oh, let me feel sorry for myself. Let me get some popcorn and listen to some sad music. Listen, I've done that shit before. It doesn't help at all, yeah? It's a waste of time. You got to look at it as, okay, I messed up. Cool. What's there to learn? Let's get on. Action. Take action. That's another thing. People don't take action. Once something's happened and you talk about it, do it. Don't just talk about it, because if you talk about it and you're not doing anything, you're not moving forward. If you're not moving forward, you're not progressing. If you're not progressing, you're not improving. If you're not improving, you're stalemate. You're just staying where you are. You haven't done anything. So as much as you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, that's why for me, I always look at a person based on their actions, not their words. I'm very, very analytical like that. So even though I might not show it, I look at people, whether it's you guys, whether it's people outside, whether it's business, whether it's parents, whether it's anyone I speak to, I look at their actions. I don't look at their words. I don't listen to their words, because words are like the wind. It comes and goes. I look at their actions. I want to see that person for their action. That'll tell me the true character of that person. That's why for me, I always say my word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it no matter how I feel, because then I'm lying to myself. I'm fake. If I say I'm going to do something and I'm not going to do it, then I'm lying to myself, which means I can't even trust myself. If I say, oh, I'm going to go and revise for 2 hours, but I'll just put it to next day, then I'm lying to myself. Then that means anything else that I say I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it, because now I'm not following through my action that I said I was going to do. I'm just using exams as an example. It could be anything else as well. Your word should be your bond. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Follow through it, because it will hold you accountable. And it means that next time when something happens and you're going to do something, you're not going to lie to yourself and you're still going to do it, because you said, hold up, no. I said I was going to do it. I said I was going to meet this person. I said I was going to drive up here. I said I was going to give this person money for help. I don't like doing it, but I said it, so I'm going to do it, because that's my word. My word has meaning behind what I say. If my word has no meaning behind what I say, what are you living for? What are you living for then? Like, So what, you just some person that just glides through and just says the most random shit? You'll see a lot of this in relationships as well. You'll see this if you haven't been in it, but when you're in it as well, you'll see. Don't look at someone what they say. I'll be very, that's one advice I would say. Don't look at what they say, look at the actions. Look at what they do, not what they say. Because it's very easy for people to try and say things to try and smooth you, and trust me, I've done it, I've been there, and I've seen it. Because words are very powerful and it can seduce you, but if you miss the actions, that person can control you, manipulate you. Things like that, just be very aware. I'm sure your parents talk about this anyway, so look at a person's action, look at a person's words, and see if they match. If the words doesn't match the action, something's wrong, and they're not following through what they're saying. And that also goes with friends. When someone says they're gonna be there, cool, you're gonna be there. All right, I'll see. When shit happens, I'll see if you're there. I only have 2 friends, that's it. 2 friends, but I call them, they'll pick up the phone. I say something's wrong, they'll drive up right here to what's happened. Like one of my good friends is in Cardiff. When I went through one of those dog days, really dog days, he was all the way in Cardiff. I told him on the phone, he said, Vidush, put the phone down, I'm coming straight today. He doesn't even drive, he didn't have a car, he had to hire a car, and he drove all the way from Cardiff to here to stay with me for the weekend. That's a friend. And he took his 2 monitors, because he was like the 2 monitors, he brought it with him in his suitcase so that he could work as well when he's at my place. But that's what he did. Those are the kind of friends that you should have. I call him, first question he will always ask, are you okay, Vidush? And he's got a family now, he's married and kid, but he will always check up on me. That's all you need, 1 or 2 friends. You don't need 100 friends. Look at social media, somebody, I have 1.5 million followers, I have 2 million followers, I have 100. How many real friends have you got though? Most of those people that say that brag, I guarantee you, I can put money on this, their personal life is not what the life that they're showing. It's completely opposite. They're depressed, they're probably taking drugs, they've got mental breakdowns. They're putting this kind of notion, this motion of this is the type of person I am. They're not. I guarantee you that. It's actually, the reason why it's so plain to see. I can see from the way they're talking, no, you're definitely not that. You're just putting up a front. You don't need 50 friends. If you have 2, 3 good friends that will be there when shit happens, that is all you need. From my humble opinion. You'll have to go and experience that for yourself. For me, experience is the best teacher. Go out there, talk with people, see how people react, see how people take action, and then see. Just take a step back and look, I said this, but that wasn't, okay, cool. I wasn't given this gift of understanding people. It was just through talking with so many people, getting rejected, challenges, I literally was brought down to my knees. I was crying when I went to go and see my dad as well. To the point where the nurses were absolutely in tears as well. But I was brought down to my knees and I absolutely just went on the floor. But things like that, when I look back at it, that's what made me a man. Yeah, that's not boy stuff, that's man shit, right? From a man perspective anyway, for me, obviously, because a woman's perspective. But obviously I say for me, that's what made me a man, is going and seeing that and being able to deal with that, and looking at my dad in his eyes for the first time in 15 years, all my days, I literally saw myself in him, which was scary as shit. So now imagine that, your dad you haven't seen for 15 years, and you're gonna go and see him for the first time in a hospital, in a coma, and you had this image of your dad who was a very strong man, a man that was just, my dad was very strong, my dad was extremely strong, and now I'm seeing my dad like that breaks you. Even though if you haven't seen him, it breaks you in the inside, because as a kid, you idealize your father, right? Or maybe your mother, maybe, I don't know, depends on your perspective. But for me, I idolized my father. I was like, yeah, he's like a Superman to me, right? So the guy was strong, he was able, he was just like, a lot of people said, yeah, your dad's genetically very gifted and he's just strong. But seeing him like that after, I was like, wow, that just broke me. But sometimes you have to be broken to be mended eventually, right? You grow from there. It's like the phoenix rises from the ashes. Anyway, I kind of went off a tangent, but I just hope that even with these exams, what I've given to you today is not to bring you down. I want to toughen you guys up so that when you go in the real world, people don't fuck with you. They don't mess around with you, because they know, yeah, she's the real deal. He's the real deal. I can't mess with her. I can't mess with him. I don't want you guys to be taken advantage of, right? You need to set the tone. Listen, hey, I know what my values and principles are. Don't mess me around. And then people will respect you when you do that. You'll be very surprised. People will respect you. In your mind you might think that, I've got to please everyone, and because I want to come across as that girl that people like me, or the guy that people like me. It's like, no. You don't. People will generally like you if you're honest and authentic and you know your values and principles and you know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. You don't need to please everyone. The right people will come in your life. But you shouldn't have this kind of feeling of trying to please other people because you want to fit in society. It's like, come on, man. I see so many things happening now that when I say it, people think I'm the villain. I was like, wow, okay, cool, I'm the villain. Interesting, okay. It's funny that if you look at these things in the right lenses, I genuinely believe you guys can do very well. I genuinely believe that you can really achieve whatever you want. And I know it might sound wishy-washy. It is possible. If you put your mind, whatever it is, if it's starting a business, if it's, I don't know, you want to go into a certain field, you want to be great at that field that you decided to do. Try and be the best at it. Don't jump from one field to the other. Like, you shouldn't be jumping. Obviously, if you don't know what you want to do at the beginning, go and experience. Okay, I want to go in this field. I've done it for 2 years. It's not really my thing. Okay, I'm going to move to another field. It's not really my thing. Okay, go to another field. Oh, this is my thing. Okay, you now know what you want to do. Okay, now go and spend the rest of your 20 years honing onto that. That's what you want to do. People say, so how'd you come up with these questions? How'd you do this? It's like, what the people don't realize is I've been doing this shit for 6 years, every single week in, week out. Every single week I've been doing this. So eventually there's going to be an exponential curve that's going to keep rising where my level, my skill level is very simple, is very advanced, where now I probably know where someone's going wrong. And I don't even need to look at the book. I'm like, okay, did you do this? And I've done that a couple of times there. I know I can see the patterns. So once you go into a field, become the best. That doesn't mean you have to be world best and don't compare yourself with the other people, but give it your all. Because trust me, once you are good at what you do, people will naturally come to you. You don't have to attract people. A lot of people, a lot of you guys, you probably won't believe this. I've never said, and I never will, please recommend me to another parent. I've never said that. All of them have recommended me to other parents through word of mouth. I never asked the parents to recommend me. I don't like that. I say to myself that if I'm doing good and you genuinely like what I'm doing, you would genuinely, from your heart, recommend me to someone else. I don't have to ask you. If you like me for what I do, you would naturally go and recommend that to someone else. Everyone that's come has been through word of mouth. Because I know it's okay, as long as I put the work in and I'm good at what I do and I give value back to people and people can find value in what I do, people will naturally want to give back. People will naturally want to help. When I say all these things, I'm still work in progress. I'm not perfect. I still got so much to learn. And I feel like I'm a student of life and I will always be a student of life. The moment you think you're a master of life, that's the moment your downfall begins. You will never master life, ever. Every single age, I always look at 0 to 10 is childhood experience. 10 to 20 is your teenager's experience. 20 to 30 is your adulthood experience. 30 to 40 is now you know what you want to do and you're kind of going all into that. 40 to 60 is kind of more family, right? Each 10-year decade has different stages and you grow. You're going to see as well, another thing that's going to happen, you might see this happening already, is your body will change. No one talks about this, but your body changes. Before you felt like you could do everything. Now you're realizing that you're not going to do as much. Your skin might not be as great. Your glare might not be as great. You might lose muscle mass. You might lose hair. That is the natural process of life. And a lot of people now, what do they do? What is that thing called? Botox. What is that thing? What is it? Botox. Yeah. They do that to try and think that, oh, I look old. My lips. What's that for the lips?
Wrinkles.
Oh, the wrinkles. I don't give a shit, man. Okay, I have wrinkles, and what? It's age gracefully. Because if you start putting all these shit in your body, Kim Kardashian, she made what did she put behind to make a big ass or something? What happened to that big ass now? It's all gone, isn't it? Interesting that, right? What happened to those lips? All gone now, right? Because it's not sustainable. It's only there for for how long? And then eventually it goes away. It's all fake, it's absolute fake, and it's just, they have so much insecurities about them that they have to put themselves out there in the world to show how good their body are. Man, you are nothing of substance. I'm sorry, I know it might sound harsh, but that's the reality. If your reality is to show off and get some sort of validation from that, you have issues. You have some serious, deep issues to get validation. There's so much more to life. You could wake up tomorrow, and I always say this to myself every single time, and I say this to my friends as well. I could wake up tomorrow and my leg is gone. I can't walk anymore. I could wake up tomorrow and I'm coughing blood. It happens. One of my old neighbors in the old apartment, she moved from Surrey to the place that we're living. She moved from there because her husband died from his sleep, just like that. Where the day before, he was doing gardening. He was fine. Healthy guy. What happened there? Life will have some very unexpected events that will come. Trust me, I tell you that I don't want to try and sound like very a pessimistic guy or someone who's negative. I really am not. I want to show you or share to you that there's going to be so much things that's going to happen in your life that's going to morph you into someone that you never thought you were going to be because of the experiences that you had with certain people, the experiences that you had with certain events, the experiences that you had that took you by surprise and hurt you deeply. It will change you. If you can just have that mindset of looking at things like, okay, that was a learning curve, but I'm not going to let that get the better of me. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to be feeling sorry for myself. I'm going to use it. I'm going to become stronger at it. Trust me. One thing I realize about people, and this is going to sound, again, like this guy is so negative, but people are selfish. If you really break it down, right, people are selfish. Self-interest. Everyone has their own self-interest. That's fine. That's naturally how we are wired as human beings, right? So when someone says, I want to give back to charity, why are you saying that? Why don't you just do it without saying it? Are you really giving to charity, or are you getting some sort of validation by saying I'm giving to charity, by saying that I'm giving to charity? Like, if you're going to give. You don't need to say it, right? You won't believe, I had so many parents that told me like I'm selfish, I care about the money or something. I'm like, do you know, when I started this, for 3-4 years, I did pay as you go. I think everyone knows, right? Pay as you go. No one does pay as you go, but that's my point, is that even when you're doing good, people will still bring you down. You stick with the people that you know that will have your back no matter what, and that's it. You only need 2 or 3 people in your life. Your family, of course, if you mingle with your family and if you have a good relationship, of course. Everyone's family is very different, so I can't judge on that. And also know what you want to do. Whatever it is, go and absolutely give it your all. Because when you're going to be 80, trust me, age just goes like this. I'm like, what, 30, shit, I don't even know how old am I? What was it, 90? I'm 32, right? I feel like I was 20, like, yesterday, and my age just went. 30 years has just gone. So I know that when the next 30 years, I'll be 60. Like, flipping heck. Life just flies. Like, you might not see it now, but it flies so quickly. To the point, like, I've seen like some older students I've taught 5 years ago, they came and I was like, wow, you've changed. It's a long time ago, but it's just like, time goes. So make the most of it. Enjoy life, of course. I don't want people to think that I'm just always about work, even though I am about work, but that's me. Enjoy your life, have experiences, go out, go and see the world, go to different countries, understand the culture. There's something good about that as well. That's experience. You can't buy experience. So if people say about money, you can never buy experience. So even if you spend money on that experience, go, because you will always have that in your memory. That you can never buy that. Experience will always, because as humans, we're wired by memory. Think about it. Whenever you're sad or emotional, or you always think about those memories, right? Like, for example, maybe not now, but you'll see it. Like, do people have like family photos of themselves with their parents when they were kids, young? Yeah? Surely when you look at that, it gets you a bit emotional. I don't know if it does. It does for me. I look back, I'm like, shit, man, I was at that of an annoying brat. Me and my brother got into so much fights, but it brings some sort of emotion because we're wired from a memory perspective. So when you have those experiences, it makes you remember those things, and that money can't buy that. Yeah, I've talked too much, kind of went a bit off tangent, but I hope that gives you a bit of perspective that, you know, even if you didn't do well here, it's fine. Like, I still believe you can do well. I genuinely think you can do well. It's just now, how do I change that mindset? I messed up this. Okay, cool, fine, let's do it. I genuinely believe, I'm not being wishy-washy, I genuinely believe if you work, you stay consistent, you learn from these mistakes, you'll do well. Because like, from this paper, it's only going to get easier now. If you really think about it, it's not going to be that hard. Like when you go and do the GCSE exam. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to experience that, so that now next time you go back to school and you do these exams, you'll be like, oh, this is not that hard, it's easy. I've done harder stuff with Vilush before. And that should be an antidote or a paradox to how you go and do life, in a sense where go and experience the hardship so that after that, you're good. The reason why I'm working so hard now, a lot of people, you know, you guys probably have said this as well, but the reason why I'm doing that is that in my later years, I know I'm not going to have the capacity, the ability, and maybe the energy to be able to do as much as I can do now. When I have that ripe age, there's a ripe age, as an age where you're able to do more. You do everything you can. There's a saying, I'm going to absolutely butcher this saying, make hay while the sun shines. Is that it? Make hay while the sun shines? Does anyone know what that means? So whilst the sun is shining, make sure you do everything you can, because the sun is not going to be shining all the time. There's going to be moments where the sun doesn't come out. What are you going to do then? It's very important. That's why right now I'm giving everything. I'm doing so much, because I know when I'm in my 50s, 60s, 70s. I don't want to be in a position where I'm scrambling and I'm still trying to make something work. No, I want to be in a position where I can give to people, whether it's grandkids, people outside. I want to be that. I see myself as the wisdom person, the guy with, you know, who's wise, not money, but wise here, because that's more important for me, not money. If you don't have this, you can't get money. So a lot of people chase money, but they don't understand why they chase money. They chase money because they think that's going to buy freedom. Okay, but then when you got freedom, what then? Money doesn't buy you happiness. Money gives you freedom to do the things that you want. And people mess that up. They think, oh, look at my Lamborghini, look at my 10-story mansion house. Listen, if you like it, great, but don't, you don't need to show it off to people, right? So yeah, I went off a bit of tangent there, but that's just a bit of that. I don't know, how long do we even have left? What time did we finish? 2:15. So how long did I bloody talk for? Oh my days, talk for now. Nathan, were you here as well? Did you listen to all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope I didn't bore you.
Nah, that's good.
What we'll do, we'll go through these questions, okay? We're not going to finish all of them today anyway, so that's fine, but we'll go through them the following week as well. And then you're going to see for yourself how, where you're making the mistake. So, like I said, I still believe you guys can do it. I don't see any reason why you can't do it. And listen, we still got time. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with, this stuff. It's just now you learn from it and that's it. You move forward, no problem. That's all it is. Just use it to your motivation and drive, and that's it. Okay, as a little gift to motivate you guys again, I guess. I hope no one's allergic to nuts. Right, so take one. Try and share it to your parents if you can.
Christmas.
No, this is for my birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.